In this video we are going to talk about top 10 craziest laws in the world. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Number 10. Choosing an unusual name for your child in Denmark. Denmark has established kid name standards so celebrities would be screwed. If you want to name your child something other than one of the 7,000 allowed names, you must first obtain government approval. Denmark's personal names law is in effect to protect children from having unusual names that appeal to their parents. Parents can choose from a list of only 7,000 pre-approved names, some for girls and others for males to do this. If you wish to give your child a name that isn't on the list, you must first obtain special approval from your local church, after which the name is examined by government officials. Attempts to spell more common names in unusual ways are frequently refused. Girls and boys must have names that show their gender. You cannot use your last name, as your first name, and uncommon names may be rejected according to the legislation. Each year roughly 1,100 names are examined, with 15 to 20% of the names being discarded. There are also laws in effect to safeguard uncommon Danish surnames. Number 9. Biking recklessly in Mexico. Bikers are not permitted to lift their feet off the pedals, since this could result in a loss of control. Riders were protected by this practical regulation, which was enacted in 1892. No hands, on the other hand, are still fair game. Number 8. Hiking in Switzerland while naked. The Swiss politely request that you do not hike in your underwear. In reality, after a naked German guy went by a family picnicking in the Alps in 2009, the Swiss canton of Appenzell was the first to prohibit the indecent act. According to the BBC, a Swiss court has upheld a fine imposed on a man for hiking naked past a family picnic in the Appenzell region. The man was fined 100 Swiss francs, $108, for his naked promenade, but he appealed, because there is no legislation in Switzerland prohibiting public nudity. However, there is a statute prohibiting public indecency, and this court ruling will create a precedent for the entire country. Hiking naked is prohibited. Number 7. Being a bird perch in Venice. Anyone who feeds the pigeons in Venice's St. Mark's Square faces a fine of up to $700. The practice was outlawed by the city, which saw the birds as a health issue and a threat to the monuments. The days of tourists feeding pigeons in St. Mark's Square in Venice are long gone. The sale and distribution of grain to feed the birds is now prohibited, putting an end to a custom that drew pigeons and their droppings to the city's most scenic spot. Number 6. Whistling in Canada. Excessive noise is prohibited in the city of Petrolia, Ontario. No yelling, shouting, whistling or singing is permitted at any time, according to the rule. Whistling is prohibited in Petrolia, Ontario. According to Article 3, 772.3.6 on the town's website, yelling, shouting, hooting, whistling, or singing is prohibited at all times, according to a Petrolia city representative. People, keep your enthusiasm to yourself. Number 5. Chicken crossing the road. This isn't a joke. In Georgia, don't let your chicken cross the road. It is prohibited to allow your chickens to cross the road in Quitman, Georgia. Simply put, the law requires poultry owners to maintain control over their flock at all times. The answer to the riddle joke, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" is to go to the other side. It's an example of anti-humor in that the joke's unusual setup encourages the listener to expect a typical punchline, but instead they get a straightforward statement of fact. "Why did the chicken cross the road?" has become a classic example of a basic joke that most people understand, and it has been repeated and tweaked several times throughout history. Number 4. Wearing high heels in Greece. If you're going sightseeing in Greece's medieval cities, leave your stilettos at home. High heels are prohibited at some ancient monuments, because they can cause harm and jeopardize restoration efforts. You should always wear appropriate footwear everywhere you travel, and this is especially true in Greece. High heels are prohibited at several of the country's most famous ancient monuments. According to The Independent, authorities imposed the ban in 2009, because sharp-soled shoes contributed to the wear and tear of national assets. In 2009, Eleni Korka, director of Greek prehistoric and classical antiquities, told the Daily Mail female visitors must wear shoes that do not harm the antiquities. These monuments have a vulnerable skin and people must be aware of this. Number 3. Naming a pig Napoleon in France. As a result, the rule no longer mentions Napoleon by name, but rather that it is forbidden to affront heads of state by naming your pig after them. It's no longer a crime, but if you want to escape prosecution under the country's rigorous slander and defamation laws, you'd better stay with the name Wilbur. almost 200 years after his death, it is prohibited in France to name a pig Napoleon. According to experts, the strange regulation exists because naming a pig after the emperor would be considered insulting to a head of state. Despite the fact that Napoleon has been deceased for nearly 200 years, French politicians believe calling him a pig is an insult to the head of state. Number 2. Running out of gas on the Autobahn in Germany. On the Autobahn, hitting 100 miles per hour is thrilling, but keep one eye on the road and the other on the needle. Running out of gas on the highway would result in fines basically, like any self-respecting German US should have known better and planned ahead. In Germany, the Autobahn is cloaked in mystery. Outsiders rarely comprehend the numerous Autobahn rules and regulations that govern this famed expressway, thanks in part to urban legends about automobiles traveling at speeds of over 200 miles per hour on what is mistakenly thought to be a lawless highway system. Driving on the Autobahn is thrilling, but many people are unaware that much of the region it traverses has speed limits in place, as well as a police presence to protect the finely designed motorway infrastructure. Speed limits apply when approaching the Autobahn near bigger cities, such as Munich, Frankfurt and Berlin. The speed restrictions on the Autobahn vary depending on the urban area in which you're traveling. These regulated speeds are in place to prevent an excess of possibly fatal vehicle accidents in sections of the Autobahn typified by dangerous curves, heavy traffic and major interchanges. Number 1. Peeing in the ocean in Portugal. In Portugal, it is illegal to pee in the ocean, yet we cannot confirm or deny that anyone has ever been caught. Still, just hold it out of respect for your fellow beachgoers, okay? I'm sure most of us have peed on the beach at some point in our lives. In Portugal, be cautious. It is forbidden to pee in the Sea of Portugal. Even though it's unclear how you'd be caught, if you're sneaky about it, you shouldn't take the chance. After all, you don't want to spend your vacation defending your idleness in a police station, especially when the bathroom is right around the corner. What do you think about this video? Which of the following top 10 craziest laws in the world you find most interesting? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.